What is up, podcast land? Welcome to another episode of the Two Dates and a Dash podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cubbler. And before I introduce this guy right here, Genesis Z, yes, that's his name. Imagine that. That's not like it's not like Matt Cubbler or Tom Smith. Genesis Z. Genesis is a musician, poet, you name it. Dude is he's done it all. But before I let him tell about himself, I want to first tell everybody where they can hear the podcast. They can hear it on just about any platform, iTunes, Pandora, iHeart, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever. I'm everywhere. Two Dates and a Dash podcast. If you want to learn more about me, Matt Cubbler, you can go to mattcubbler.com. You can find out about my book I wrote, A Brother's Love, a memoir, all about my life story, about my growing up with my brother Andy, my history, my background, everything I do, my speaking stuff, my leadership development stuff. So you can find out all there. So without further ado, my man, Genesis, how are you?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm fantastic, man. And this has been about a month and a half in the making, and it's just nothing ever seemed to click on our schedules to get this done, but we made it work tonight. And I'm excited to have you on.
Thank you. I'm excited to be on here. I appreciate the opportunity.
It's going to be fun. So I know that, you haven't watched a lot of my podcasts or listened to a lot of my podcasts, but we have mutual friends, and this is why this is happening. And
that's awesome.
You're a musician, and you got a lot of talent, and you need to get a bigger stage. And anytime anybody asks me to help somebody out, I always say yes, because it's fun to have conversations with new people. So I asked one question, and that question is very simple, but could be very complex.
Right.
So the question I'm going to ask you is, who is Genesis Z?
Well, Genesis Z to me is an artist, first of all, that wanted to be an artist. And in the middle of that, I metamorphosized into a producer, helping other artists, and realizing I got cornered in a little too much, where I didn't have any creativity for myself. So the end of it all, I decided to go full time, to love myself, to open up a little more, be more honest with myself, and spiritually and psychologically, I had to go through a lot of transformation. And Genesis Z to me is a recovered artist, and the name to me represents the beginning of an end, the end to a beginning. And that's what Genesis Z is.
That's some deep shit right there.
Yeah.
We dropped a bomb to start the show. I love that. So, and I don't know a lot about your music. I don't know a lot about, and that's by design. Just so you know, it's not because I don't do my homework.
Right.
I like every one of my interactions when it's somebody I don't know to be as fresh and new for me as it is for the person that's listening to the show. So I'm going to ask a lot of weird off the wall questions that may be comfortable or uncomfortable for you, but we'll see what happens.
Right. Okay.
So you said you were an artist who became an artist, but in the meantime you metamorphosized into a producer. What was the first version of you when you decided music was going to be your vocation and your avocation? What was the first version of you that wasn't quite true to who you were?
Oh wow, I just made my hair stand up. Well, the first one was in the beginning. I had a chance to borrow my ex-girlfriend's keyboard. It was a sequencer, and I only had 30 days to have it. So I made 17 songs at age 17 and produced my first album. And I even made the cover with my pen. It was a very personal album. And I took it down to Rainbow Records, and they had it on the shelf. I was really proud. And I knew it wasn't me because I was just experimenting. But at the same time, that is me, because now I'm at this timeline-wise, I have matured as an artist. I emphasize my mess. I emphasize the chaos. I organized it, because when I was starting, I was all over the place. And you can tell each facet of myself at that time, I was trying to just be the imagination. So this time I'm trying to let the imagination be me. You
Oh, I
catch what I'm
totally.
driving?
Oh, dude, I'm tracking 100%.
So instead of, in other words, if I can explain this, a lot of singers will replicate, if not copy, a style of their heroes. And I used to do that all my life. And at one point, I did an album, and it sounded like D'Angelo the whole time. This is in my midlife, and I became depressed because it wasn't totally me, and it was a curse to me. And but at the same time, it was a blessing because I needed to go through that in order to be who I am now. I need to learn from my mistakes in order for me to understand it's okay to replicate others, but once you get to a certain stage, why don't you replicate yourself, your ideal self of who you want to be?
And
And that's
there's a lot of inward requirements of that. And that's not, and while it sounds very artistry driven
yeah,
type thing, like there's a lot of
yeah,
those stories out there, but in
yeah,
reality, that's life. Like when you think about how hard it is to figure yourself out, like people
yeah,
don't put the work in to
yeah,
understand who they are. And we always, I went through a real dark period of my life, depression,
yeah,
and I always knew who I was. I went through a traumatic event, and
yeah.
but it's that inward
God
requirement
bless you.
to thank you to handle that.
Yeah,
And but it's hard. It's hard to go there internally, especially when music is such a personal. For most people that are doing it the way you're doing it,
yeah,
not trying to write number one hits, but doing it to impact someone's mindset or heart or whatever. When you're
right,
doing that, when you're writing music, it's such a personal connection.
right.
And if you're not in tune with who you are, and I don't know if this is true or not for you, but when somebody would listen to your music, if it wasn't coming from that space of honesty,
Yeah, exactly.
did anybody ever say to you that, like comparatively speaking to Genesis Z now and who you were before, are people seeing the difference, like the depth of your soul, the honesty that you're sharing versus earlier on?
I haven't gotten much feedback about that, but from my point of view and to some of my close friends, yes, they see the difference. They've seen me grow so much, and I've I've overcome insecurities, and I still have insecurities as a person, but as an artist, I no longer. I mean, I still have a little bit, but I've overcome majority of it, and there's always going to be some kind of insecurity, but that's the whole point. It, without sadness, there's no happiness. Without the dark, there's no light. So insecurity to me is the dark. We need to get through those things in order to gain more knowledge and exploration about what is out there and what's inside us.
What
So
would, if you don't mind me asking, when you say you have insecurities, as we all do, but
yeah,
but the best music is written by the people that have the most
yeah.
insecurities. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. You got that right. You nailed it. That's very true.
what are yours? What are the things that you're afraid of most, as not just as an artist, but in general that can help? Because ultimately, what this show is going to end up doing, somebody's going to hear your story and
Yeah.
resonate with that, and how you handle things is going to be something that will help somebody figure that out themselves.
I realized it wasn't had nothing to do with my singing or who I am as an artist. I realized I let my personal psychology insecurity leaked into my artistry. I woke up one day and I realized that's what it was. But I'm not going to give myself all the credit. I give that credit to a couple of former bandmates. And the second one, he passed away. Um, Rest in peace, Amir Prince. When he was alive, he used to yell at me and say, "You know what your problem is? I believe in you more than you believe in yourself." And I had so many good friends would tell me that I would never listen. It took somebody to die, a close friend of mine to die for me to start understanding I have to really do this now. You know,
Oh
I would
yeah.
because I know he's looking over me, or spiritual religion or not. I know the main point is my friendship with him. I owed him that, and I felt like I'm not gonna reciprocate that if I don't satisfy
Mhm.
his love for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, and that, I mean, that's deep, smart,
Yeah.
intelligent, real. And I think as human beings, we're driven through connection, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's how we, that's why there's problems in the world today. And when there's no problems, you see people are way more connected.
Yeah.
And I think and just hearing, and I don't know anything about your relationship with Amir, you said?
Yeah. Amir Prince.
Amir Prince, that I don't know your relationship, but
Yeah.
I can guarantee you one thing, that his will for you to be successful is what you drew upon. And it was safe because you didn't have to have it for yourself because someone else was giving it to you. And you knew that no matter what, he was there to help lift you up and get you through the hard times, whatever case might be. And then when he was gone, you felt this piece of you was missing. And that fear of failure, that fear of, I'm not going to be what he has always helped me be without him. I have to make a choice, right? I have to decide, who do I want to be? Do I want to be the guy that proves him right, that I don't know my own greatness? Or am I going to be the person that lives up to the person that he saw me as?
Right. Wow. I like that, Matt. Wow. I never thought of it that way. That's way cool.
That's the way humans work that way.
Yeah.
And it's always, instinctively, human behavior is we will always try to find the easiest route and the safest route and the thing that makes us feel the best, the fastest.
Right.
That's always going to be our instinct. And those that are great recognize that that's the instinct.
Right.
And they go against that.
Right.
And they find a way to make themselves unique. So they're not replicating and copying somebody else. They're finding their path on their own.
Yeah. It's more of a challenge. And that's where you grow from that.
And that's where I think, and I've heard one of your songs. I went onto your Facebook and I heard one of your songs, and it's awesome music. I love it. But I would love to one day sit down and just listen to like the old stuff and the new stuff and just really absorb the growth,
Right.
I've always loved music. I'm melodically inclined.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, reading music and playing music is a lot like computing math, right? Because your brain has to process stuff really fast and make your fingers, your mouth, your feet or whatever do the thing that makes it sound like what your brain wants it to sound like. And I don't have that. I played brass instruments in school and I faked it. I never learned how to really read music. I can hear a song and I can mimic a song, but I can't read music and process it fast enough to where I can learn it fast enough and make it sound right.
Right.
So for me, everything was singing. Like I can sing a song and I can then figure out the notes and make it sound like something.
Right.
But it's
so you
that's
focused
not
on your strength.
Yeah, and that's not a talent for me though. That was just for me it was because it was easier.
Right.
I took the easy route. Yeah, I wasn't going to work hard at it because I knew that it was tough, and I was like, I can fake it till I make it. Right. And I think, but in my heart, I always wanted to be you. Right. I always wanted to be the guy that had this passionate understanding of something you wanted to share and create, and then you found a way to do that through music. And I just never could get there. And we shared on Facebook a song I wrote, and I have a bucket list. I'm 49 years old. I've lived a very eventful life, and everybody thinks I'm some kind of like I'm going to die soon thing. But I'm just making sure I get it all done. Yeah. Like I'm not waiting until I'm 70. I'm trying to knock them off all the time.
Right? That thing's more coming from passion.
Right.
Bucket list. Yeah.
Right. I gotta get it. I don't know if tomorrow's my day. I'm not in charge.
You want to relish it,
Right. So I wrote a song with guy Johnny Levi, who's an amazing singer-songwriter, more on the folky country side of things, but just amazing. Kenneth knows him. But he and I wrote the song together, and I am so inspired by the fact that, and I didn't write the song. I wrote a poem, and then I gave him a storybook line and how I thought the song should go, and he did all the hard work and then wrote the music. But the fact that I could be a part of that,
right,
with somebody else who knows what they're doing, who can help and sort of mentor me through it, was awesome. So when you write a song, and I always, for me, I write poetry and I've written a book, but it all comes in like, it's not I can't sit and write and come up with something. Something has to happen for that to happen for me.
Right.
When
Okay.
you write, what's your process for writing a song?
Multiple processes and multiple situations. I nowadays I tend to write songs that if there's a moment that makes somebody laugh really, really hard, I'll try to capture that moment and say, now that was funny. That's a good song title. What was your plot or your punchline again? Oh, that's great. I'm gonna write that. Or I can, just like what's going on today, these riots. I want to write a song called "I Hear You" or "I Acknowledge You." I'm still wrestling through that, but in this climate right now, I think that's the whole point. No one's acknowledging each other, which is why this is all happening. And it's not the only reason, but
No, yeah,
that's
I
one
got
of
you. And
that's one of the
I'm
reasons.
a white 27-year veteran cop, so
Yeah,
I'm knee deep in this. So
yeah,
I get
and
it.
and and it's not, you can't generalize everybody. So let's get to the root of it. Let's just hear each other out. What's your story? So I'm trying to write from that. Anything that's like potent, that is a must, a big matter that could help a lot of people or make them see another way, or make people laugh, or make people reminisce about their childhood, or make people feel, what they lost is what they gained. When you break up with somebody or someone breaks up with you, I I I tend to want to inject that potency through their imagination, through their reminiscence, through their longing. Um, it could be positive. I got a song called "On a Heater." I asked my brother, "Hey, give me because he's a gambler. He's a big time gambler. Give me a slang for winning. You're always winning. What is that called?" He goes, "That's on the heater." I'm like, perfect. So I wrote a song called "On the Heater," and the verses just supports the chorus. I can write a song about a glass, and I'm seeing the glass, first verse, second verse, I'm touching the glass, and then bridge. What would life be without glasses?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So writing songs is kind of like between poetry and writing a play. And
it's got to
nowadays,
have that structure.
yeah, and nowadays it's changed a little bit. When you see music videos, I learned this from Pharrell. He always told me, he was in an interview. He was like, how do you write your songs? He goes, I write it like a script to a music video. I'm like, that's genius. So I do that now. He influenced me with that one now. But you can't stick to one thing because it's gonna get stale.
Mhm.
You want to be in a buffet. You don't eat the same thing every day, you
Right.
know. So that's how I process it.
If you had to classify yourself in any one genre of music, like if there was a specific, well, let's two-part question. First of all, I hate boxes. I hate being put in boxes. I hate being
Yeah,
labeled and stereotyped and
yeah,
um, put into anything that I did not choose, right? But
right,
everybody's always doing it. Like we don't
right.
control what other people are doing, but I just personally don't enjoy it. So
Yeah.
absent the fact that we probably don't enjoy being put in a box, if there was a box that is a genre that is out there today, would that be, what would the genre be that you would be most associated with?
At first, I would say rock because it gives you freedom to do anything. Rock can be anything. It could be rock soul, rock funk, rock this and that. But I changed my mind because without soul, there would be no rock. So I would say I'm a soul artist. I'm a soul artist, but technically, I'm a soul experimental artist. I'm because when you hear when you hear the soul music in tradition, we would think Motown,
Mm-hmm.
funk, hip hop. To me, soul it's all on another level to me because I'm not white or black. So what do I represent? I don't want to represent being foreign soul. I think this is just human soul, and that's why I love bands like the Chili Peppers. That's a
love
great
it.
example. That's a great example of what soul is without the traditional sense of what soul is. You would think Aretha Franklin is soul, but when you hear Chili Peppers, it took a lot of soul to do that. You know, that's punk soul, punk and soul. Rick James was trying to do punk funk. Prince was trying to do naked funk. So all these types of soul movements is crazy to me. So my where I come off different is I'm offering all those little different types of soul music that I'm making. I'm a big fan of music. I don't look at myself like, well, I'm the shit, so I'm gonna do this and show them this different style. I'm not doing that. What I'm trying to do, because when I was a little kid, I used to make mixtapes. And I love making mixtapes. I used to draw the concept cover, you know what I mean? All my favorite artists, and I would categorize it. This is like dark 80s mixtape. And then I would have a party mixtape. And then I would have a slow song mixtape. You know,
Did you ever have a breakup mixtape? The one you made?
I was going to say that. I was going to I had that, the romantic mixtape.
Yeah.
That's such a... but anyway, that's my attitude towards making my music now. It's like how can I make a mixtape of my heroes without sounding like my heroes? I'm gonna.
Dude, that is brilliant.
You know what I mean?
Dude, I've never heard anybody say that. That is like mind-blowingly brilliant.
Really, thank you.
Because it's so real. Like it's like I'm paying homage to everybody, but I don't want to sound like them. But there's
exactly
pieces of every one of them that are part of me that I want to express, and I want somebody to go, that sounds a little bit like a Prince song, or a little bit of you know. So I love that.
I'm coming from a fan. I'm not even coming from the guy on stage. I am partying with the fans.
Yep.
That's how I feel when I'm on stage. They think you must feel like God when you're up there. No, I feel like I'm part of the fans, you know, dancing with them on the ground. And I'm just a host, you know?
Yeah. So my buddy's the lead guitarist for Candlebox.
Oh, wow.
And
yeah,
I love watching.
I remember them.
I love watching him perform.
Yeah.
Like, because in my head, I'm going, because I know him very well. He's super educated, super deep emotionally. He doesn't look like, when he's playing, he looks like he could kill you. But he's like the most mild-mannered guy on the planet. And I just love watching the transformation.
Right.
When he turns into Brian Quinn, the guitarist for Candlebox.
Right.
And I love watching, and in each song, it's different.
Right.
How he approaches it with his personality is different. So when you're on stage, how do I want to word this question? Are you playing roles at all within the song? Like you were saying that you'd write it like Pharrell said he wrote it like a music video. Are you in that song playing a role of whatever that song was as you're delivering the story? Or is it all Genesis Z and singing just all these different songs? You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense?
That's a great question, because I've never been asked that question. You asked really great questions. I am more like that in the production sense. Like to me, music production is like making a movie, and this is the role I'm playing in the movie. So this song, I'm going to be this character. But when you're on stage, I forget about all that, because people are not there. I mean, I should say this. This is my opinion, but I feel like I owe people my essence on stage. To some performers, they want it more theatric, like David Bowie. He's like that. Right. To me, I'm more of a, more of an athlete on stage. Like, I just don't care. I just want to be in the moment with you. It's an intimate thing. I own that. So I don't need to play dress up.
Right.
But the fact that you already bought the album, you already have that in another realm of entertainment. But this is why you came to the show. I'm going to give you something different.
Right.
You know
I love that. And that's what makes all the artists so different.
Yeah.
Is their approach to their artistry. And
yeah.
And that's why, Brian has all these, like, sometimes he looks like he's from Megadeth, and sometimes sometimes he looks like he's just like a hipster guitarist. Like, there's so many different ways that he approaches his persona. Yeah. And in real life, he's just a laid back dude who likes to chill and watch Netflix, right? Like, so it's different. And I love your vibe comes off to me through Zoom here as
Yeah.
if you're really trying to share a piece of your soul with
Yeah.
with everybody that sees you. And
That's
I'm
cool. Thank you.
an inspirational speaker, in addition to all the 90 other things I
Oh,
do.
that's beautiful, man. I didn't know that.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm a one-trick pony inspirational speaker. I share my life story about my
Yeah.
brother passed away, and I think I shared that with you
My
on
condolences.
Facebook. He's been gone 31 years.
Yeah.
But he was learning to say, but he had autism and he stuttered, and
Oh
just
yeah, I do remember. Yes.
our life growing up together,
Yeah.
and just how beautiful our relationship was, but all the struggles we went through at the same time, but how that didn't really, it impacted us, but it made us stronger together. And
Right.
how his death affected me. And then, so I share these stories, and people will say to me, and there is a point to this story. People will say to me that when I'm on stage, I can literally go back in time and
Right.
relive those moments on stage and share how I was feeling, like literally break down sobbing. And I'm not
Yeah.
trying that.
Wow.
That's just me. I go back.
It just comes out. Yeah.
And that's my realist mind. I would do that a million times a day because that helps me remember my brother and feel him. So when you're writing a song, and especially if it's a personal song, have you ever gone to the point where you were able to, and I don't know how many personal, like deep personal songs you've written, but have you ever had a real life, like I connected so deeply on stage as if when I was writing it, you know what I'm saying? Like, because when you write it, you have that, you're reliving that moment, right? On some level. And then when you sing it, does it ever come back to like the moment when you wrote it?
Oh, wow.
That emotional connection.
Yes. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. And when it did, it wasn't a big audience. And the funny thing about that was I actually cried during that, but I had my sunglasses. But on another show a year later, the crowd singing my lyrics, because I wasn't even gonna put it in the album because it was a personal song for me. It was a breakup song. And when I was singing this hook in the song, I was literally crying. I was just sobbing while I'm singing this. And you can hear it on the record. It's beautiful. So I came to find out my most popular song around my friends and my local supporters is this song. And I'm going, of course it is, because they feel that.
Right.
And when I did have those moments, like you said, they weren't around. It was just like at a bar, I'm playing acoustic and there's 5 people there. And I'm like, but that didn't matter. Like the fact that I was able to relive that is, to me, is detoxing. That's what music does. It detoxes us, you know? Even from beginning of a song, you get excited to detox. And after you detox, you're like, oh, am I detoxing still? No, not yet. But a year later, it's going to hit you.
Right. It's funny.
You know?
I did a speaking. I do a lot of free stuff. Like somebody will say, hey, can you come speak to my book group or something, whatever. I just love sharing, right? I enjoy the process of letting that out.
Well, I love that, man.
And one time I got hired for free. I always say got hired, but I got it for free at a local church, like book thing.
Yeah.
And the only people that came were 7 of my friends.
Yeah. Right.
Who all know my story, who are all there.
Right.
They know everything. Man. But they drove 30 minutes to come support.
It's beautiful.
So I gave them the best hour inspirational speech I could.
You got to.
and it was probably my most prideful moment because it was the one where I easily could have just said, "No, fuck this.
Right.
Like, let's go to the bar. We're done." And they would have been okay with that.
Right.
But I'm like,
they drove. Yeah.
They came for me.
Yeah. They drove. Yeah. 30 minutes is.
And I owe them that. So that was one of the coolest nights of my life. So when you said, and that's what brought that up when you said, I was crying and playing acoustic in front of five people in a bar, I literally just like the picture of me speaking in front of 7 of my friends.
You. Yeah, that's great, man. That's great stuff.
So when you I have my bucket list. What is your bucket list as far as music? Like, what are your aspirations? Because you have the garage band guys, right? I was just talking to a buddy of mine, he's got a garage band, and He just wants to,
Okay.
you make $800 and there's eight guys and they play for 3-4 hours. It comes out to almost nothing. And by the time the bar bill gets paid, and they're happy as hell. And that's what they like to do. What is your, as an artist, like if you said, if I could map out my future and the trajectory in which I go and how I do that, like with the intensity and the intention that you want to put into your career, where do you see yourself? What's your ultimate aspiration?
To make my bucket list is to make a huge impact, if I can make a collective consciousness moment, like a moment of silence in front of 10 people or 10,000 people, if I can have everybody on the same page, not even if we all can be in that same moment in the middle of a song because of the rest of the night, how it went, the experience, to me, that's my ultimate bucket list, is that peaceful serenity that we're all right.
Oh yeah.
Because you go to a movie and a bad movie, you don't even care. But you go to a good movie, you forget who you are, you forget where you live after the movie. Like, holy shit, it's bright outside. So I want that same experience. I want to give people that same experience. It's that engagement, that sincerity. I love Bob Marley, how he did that. And beyond that moment, Bob Marley made a huge impact on how people see things. And I think we got a little more to go, and we got to keep going until we're half human bionic. That's our next evolution, right? So we got to keep going. And as painful as it is, the stuff is right now, what's going on, I think there is a shift. My girl is sad about it, and I told her, I understand. I cried yesterday. You're crying today. I understand. Don't think I'm being sensitive. I'm just in a different page process-wise. I'm trying to look at the positive. I'm trying to look at this as hope, that there is a shift going on. Because anytime you get in a personal conflict with somebody, it's a chance to spiritually grow. Because if you don't face that, you're going to continue to just bottle it up, and it becomes anger, and just the easy way is anger. So you got to face it. And to me, going back to that moment, we're all facing each other. Forget the inhibitions, forget all your problems. Let's just hold hands. You're a stranger. And it sounds kumbaya, but it's really true. Coming from a rocker, that's dark rocker, I love that stuff, So
that just shows the depth and breadth of your artistry and your soul. Like you're not pigeonholed. You're not, I'm going to do one thing. And I'm going to, God help me if I don't make it. I'm going to give it all of that one try. You're looking at the world from a completely different, not even talent wise, just understanding how you can use your voice and the words that you're saying. And there's music, the notes are important.
It's frequency.
But the words paired with that frequency,
it's beautiful.
Is the ultimate. That's the Reese's peanut butter cup, right?
That's right.
Like Skippy's one thing and Hershey bars another, but you put those two together, that's something together,
man.
So for me, when I love singer-songwriters, I've always been James Taylor and those kinds of guys or
Americana stuff too.
Yeah, I just love it. I look at them and I go, you're willing to emotionally connect with your audience. It's not just simply a catchy hook,
right?
There's depth to it. Zach Brown.
Oh, great.
Great. You hear his Colder Weather song, which is one of my favorite songs ever written, and it's just the story of it. Is just brilliant, and I love knowing that there was you took me on a journey.
I was just going to say that passage. Yep.
And I'm hearing, and like I said, I don't know much about you, but what I hear out of I do video because I love to be able to sense who the person is I'm talking to, and the authenticity.
Big difference. Yeah.
Right. And
I'm with you on that.
When you're speaking to me, is your body telling me the same thing that your face and your mouth is?
Right. Right.
And it is. It's all congruent, and that's
Yeah.
I love that. And
Yeah. Oh, this is no game. Like once you decide to be an artist, it's a huge responsibility. Like it's your naked to the world. You have to be intimate with what you say. This is not a movie. This is real. You know.
yeah. Well, listen,
Wow,
we got about 5 minutes left.
Okay.
You got an acoustic guitar near you?
Oh, for sure. Hold on. Give me a sec.
This is the first time, everybody. The first 2 Dates in a Dash live musical component. So we're going to a place that no one's ever gone to before.
Oh boy.
I'm not a musician, but I can tell that's out of tune.
My son's been messing with this. Blame it on my son. There you go. Okay.
All right. Putting you on the spot. What's the song you were just talking about? What's that song that you sang in front of 5 people?
Oh boy, that's Heartbreakers. Here we go. I had to take a chance with you again. Once again, this might be over. One step behind, now you could lose, my friend. A step ahead might make it colder. Point no return. So far away. How can you break it? How can you break my heart? Point no return. Believe in what they say. How can you break it? How can you break my heart? Tell me you still love me. Tell me you still love me. And tell me you still love me. Tell me you still love me. I had to take a chance with you again. And all of a sudden you're a stranger. You play my heart just like a violin. But in the end they call you danger. No, one no return. So far away. How can you break it? How can you break my heart? For no time, believe in what you say. How can you break it? How can you break my heart? And tell me you still love me. Tell me you still love me. And tell me you still love me. Tell me you still love me. I used to think it was so wonderful. Now I got this notion that everything will be inevitable. Like I had to break this union. Oh, what you reap is what you gonna sow. I'm leaving my illusions with a sun on my face. My shadows fall behind me. Tell me you still love me. Tell me you still love me. Ooh. me. Tell me you still love me. Tell me you still love me. She says, yeah, yeah, yeah. I say, yeah, yeah, yeah. We say, yeah, yeah, yeah. I say, yeah, 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 I hope you like that.
Dude, that was legit.
Thanks, man.
That was fucking legit. Dude, I love that song.
Thank you. Really, thank you.
Oh, I can tell you why that's the one everybody likes. Dude, it's got such a I'm trying to think what I could even compare it to. That was you could sense it came from a place of hurt, number one. Like you just tell that the phraseology and the way you wrote the lyrics, like it's coming from a place of real hurt. But the hook, I mean, it's like a mix. I don't want to say Pharrell, but I'm trying to remember who I'm thinking of. It's got a new, like almost got a pop rockish kind of vibe to it, a little bit like that boom da 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 like that.
Yeah.
That's coming out with that, like that's very modern
sensibility.
Today. Yeah. So I fucking love that song. I'm gonna go get that whenever you have your music on. So
thank you, man.
No, that was legit.
Massive love, man. Thank you so much. That means a lot, so much to me. Thank you.
Well, man, hang tight for 1 second. I'm going to close out the show. I just want to first of all say, if you're not a fan of Genesis Z after listening to this podcast and hearing him play and sing, then you're deaf, dumb, and blind. He oozes authenticity. And in the world today where everybody is fucking fake, it's nice to meet somebody who isn't. So thank you for being you. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for playing the game, because we had no idea how this was going to go. Like there's no rules, right? There's no script. So I enjoyed it. I loved listening to your story and then coming up with questions that were just in me. I just needed to know the answer. And that's the beautiful part of podcasting. It's a beautiful part of having this kind of a platform. And I'm just very thankful you came on.
Amen, man. And thank you for having me. And it's with I can tell you're a man with a mission, with a purpose. And to me, it's an honor to be, and I had to be in this conversation, and the kind of conversation we had, this is good stuff, man.
What's your website? Do you have a website people can go to learn more about you?
Right now, it's Genesis Z and the Black Mambas. It's under construction, but it will direct you straight to our label website, and all our information is there. And Instagram is Genesis_Z_IG.
And is it ZEE or the letter Z?
Oh, letter Z. I'm sorry. Okay, Genesis just the letter Z_IG. There you go.
Very good. Perfect. Everybody, thank you for tuning into this episode of the 2 Dates and a Dash podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cubbler. Thank you again to my man, Genesis Z. You got to get his music. I'm thankful that I got to hear it. I'm going to be a fan for life now. And again, if anybody wants to learn more about me, go to mattcubbler.com. Everybody, God bless. Please be kind to one another.
That's right.
And let's stop the madness and everybody just sort of figure out how we can coexist and love one another. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
God bless.
Thank you, Matt.